Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. For last 15 to 16 years, I have been personally very obsessed with one problem. How do we make users pay? Not just once, repeatedly, and pay more, especially in a country like India, where we know it's a highly price sensitive market. I have seen that problem in last 15, 16 years when I started my career at magicbricks.com. It was a startup at that point in time, where we asked owners of properties to pay us up to 20,000 rupees to list the property. Then we asked people who are seeking home, seeking owner information to again pay. Then at Amazon, when I was there between 2008, 17, 18, selling iPads, laptops, which are worth 2 lakh rupees, how to do that, how to create that value proposition, that was the problem which I was deeply involved in solving that. I joined Economic Times in 2018, 7 years back, when we started our journey on subscriptions, where we realized that average revenue per user is declining. The monthly active users is not going to go up significantly. The kind of growth which we want, we need to significantly increase ARPU, and hence we launched multiple bouquet of products starting from ET Prime, ET Markets, and now Masterclasses. While we have learned a lot in the entire journey, we have had our fair share of failures. And in this session, I have tried to condense all this learning in some series of nuggets, which I believe will be helpful to the audience. So my promise here to all of you would be, in next 20 minutes, I'll try to share something with you, which I believe will make a meaningful difference in the subscription product which you are trying to envisage. Or if you have an existing subscription product, you will be forced to rethink. So we will talk about the flywheel. So flywheel has broadly three components. First is the access to your product through subscription. And it is just the beginning of the promise. Because when someone pays you money for the first time, the person is not paying for the product because the person has not experienced it. It is the promise, the value which you have showcased. The second part of the flywheel is how do you convert that access into a recurring use case, which builds in repeatable value, which helps in retention, which further helps in upsell, and which again goes back into again building value. So this circle keeps on revolving. The faster it spins, the more value it generates for any business. And that's what we have seen at Times Internet, where we work on multiple subscription products, which is ET Prime, TOI Plus. We sell e-paper separately. And recently, we have also started selling masterclasses. So essentially, we don't sell paywalls. It is not just the digital access rights which we sell. This we learned the hard way because in first 2 years, we did not make enough progress. And essentially, my earlier experience of working in other kind of products did not help in content commerce. I was a big failure in my company in first couple of years and learned certain things the hard way. Something which Neeraj also mentioned, that from our DNA perspective, we kept on selling content and we soon realized that just for content or information advantage, the ability to pay will remain very limited. The target addressable market will again remain very limited. And that's when in the year 2020, we started adding a lot of utility based content, based tools into our subscription product, which I will cover in subsequent slides. But the underlying principle was not give content access rights. If we say pay for a story, pay for a content, that does not work beyond a point. And it hits the ceiling very, very soon. What actually works is that can you make a person take a better decision, whether it is with respect to a money decision or a decision with respect to someone is a business leader, wants to take some decision with respect to some policy changes in the sector. Is the person able to take that decision after buying your product? That is more important than just access to an article. Because the way we define user experience now in our subscription product is not the customer journey which is there in design, but actually if the user comes back with a testimonial that I read this article or I use this tool and hence I was either able to make more money or I was able to impress my boss, I was able to get a promotion, that's the real success of a subscription product. And for that, you don't want user to come to you every day. Even one success in the entire year is good enough for a user to come back repeatedly. When it comes to value, we thought initially when we launched our subscription products that India is a price sensitive market. and we should not price it higher. But we soon realized that our target addressable market is very different from our core business of news content, where we chase millions, but essentially the target addressable market is very different. And there we need to price basis the value which we are creating. In fact, we were the first one to start with 2,500 rupees price points in big media companies. And without adding any add-on, without adding any other product, plus all the masterclasses business, we have always priced it at premium based on the value which we believe we are able to provide. Renewals, I will spend close to 5 to 7 minutes in terms of why I believe if someone is launching a subscription business or in the early stage of a subscription business, renewal is far, far, far more important than acquisition, because most of the management boardroom discussions, we only talk about active number of subscribers, revenue. There are hardly any discussions on what is the product market fit. People who are using your product, are they coming back repeatedly to, or are they giving extremely good feedback? Are you running product market fit surveys to qualitatively understand the fitment of your product in someone's life, not just giving access of one article? So this is something I will again like to overemphasize it, like Neeraj has done. Anant has also spoken at length. So in media industry, we are always fascinated by big numbers, 10 million, 20 million. For example, Times of India Online has 220 million monthly active users. At Economic Times, the number is around 55 million. When it comes to subscription, this is a big, big distraction, because when subscription team works on this, they have very limited target base to target. Just to give you the perspective, it's been 6 years into the subscription journey. Out of 55 million, less than 1% people have paid, have actively paid, and they contribute 35% of the revenue. Just imagine. So identifying that 1% which is more relevant to you, where you are actually creating value and creating a disproportionate business value also from those users, is something which you need to figure out. Because what we have realized that ad inventory is growing like rabbits, yields are going down, competition is increasing. With AI generated content, there are plethora of options available for advertisers. As a brand, you need to create your own niche. At the same time, ensure that your cash machine, which is the ad business, is not disrupted. And that's how we have been calibrating both the engines together, so that there is an incremental growth in ad business. At the same time, we are able to build a strong diversified business with subscriptions and transactions. So when I talked about access, people do not buy access. So this is something which we keep reinforcing even 7 years down the line, even right now. When a new person joins in the team and everyone focuses too much on what we show on the paywall. And there are multiple models around, can we do pay per story? Can we do something else? Internally, we strongly believe that subscription is like a gym membership. One day of going to a gym is not going to yield meaningful result to you, while you may be able to charge 500 rupees or even 1000 rupees for one session. The person is actually going to get fitter, leaner, only if the person stays with you and uses the product the way you want it. So subscription is still relatively new in India, where you need to actually handhold a user. A lot of work needs to be done on the day of payment, where a lot of products, lot of media companies I have seen lacking. 90% of their effort is how to get people in, see funnels in terms of how many users hitting the paywall, how many people are actually paying, converting, keep optimizing a lot of other things. This again has a very limited potential of growth. The biggest potential of growth comes when you start doing work on day one of someone making a payment. How do you ensure the journey going forward? How do you create customer cohorts going forward? So when it comes to certainty, people in the even marketing communication do not want to say that, okay, I want to subscribe to this product, then what? So in marketing also, we clearly emphasize and try to emphasize, there are again mistakes at multiple levels, that you actually will become a better investor. You actually will become a better version of yourself. That is the end outcome. What you get access to is very tactical. Tomorrow it can change, and it will change, which I will show. So in the context of what we have been operating at Times Internet Limited, so these are the 4-5 things which we believe we are trying to solve. which are the root reasons why people will pay. First is our core moat, which is around information advantage, which is exclusive journalism for which we stand for. This is under huge threat from AI. There are certain things which I will discuss how we are trying to de-risk ourselves. With respect to money and time, specifically when it comes to personal finance, stock markets, investments, how to reduce that research process of finding the right stock, or effectively figuring out what's the uh, right investment opportunity at any point in time. Building a small community. Till date, I think we have not done enough work. This is personally my failure because I have been mandated to do this, build a strong community. So building some bit of belongingness to the platform. And the last part is again important, which we have recently started, which is building products around progress and confidence, whether it is AI masterclasses or valuation masterclasses, where we believe savvy readers, avid readers, and even affluent readers of our platform need this at this point in time. So I have categorized our offerings into three parts. So one is the ET Prime and TY Plus. We are focused a lot more on content, information advantage with deep and investigative journalism. Second is around markets, where we focus a lot on money and time. And with respect to AI and valuation, this is the need of the hour, where not even at an individual level, at a function level, business level, or even at a sector level, everyone needs guidance, everyone needs hand holding, and everyone needs to stay up to date. And that's what we have started building some center of excellence internally. And it is paying off great results within 6 months of starting it off. Again, I've been part of multiple discussions and have met a lot of people in the industry where a lot of focus is always on conversion. Everyone asks, 100 people come, how many convert? What are you actually doing for renewing your readers, or essentially building experience for the readers? After 7 years down the line, 60% of our revenue is predictable now. For example, when we start our next financial year, we know with 60% certainty what is our revenue going to be, because we have some confidence in terms of consistent retention rates which we have been getting. For evolved publications globally, with these New York Times, WSJ, they're close to 80% revenue is predictable. And that is the age we are entering into, and that is how retention is important. Because right now, while we have priced products at 2,000 to 3,000 rupees, we have strong confidence that there are at least 100,000 people where we can charge at least 100,000 rupees per year by creating strong value. So this 2,500 rupees is just the starting point for us. So when I talk about renewal, it is not just about, again, using marketing automation tools and building some marketing automation journeys. That is, again, a tactic. Trying to understand that people who have been loyal to you, who have trusted you, paid you some money initially, how can you create additional value, upsell certain things, and create more value? Because typically the funnel for specifically media companies where you have huge volumes looks very different. At the top of the funnel, you will have 50 million users. But at the bottom most part of the funnel, where you have only, where you want to actually create value for say 1 lakh rupee product, you may only have 10,000 users at this point in time to start with. So essentially, you'll need to see the funnel very differently when it comes to subscription. It is the traditional funnel is not going to work. Second most important thing, which Neeraj emphasized in his last slide, which is around understanding audience better and understanding the tech stack. That is of supreme importance, because if you don't control your audience, if you don't have first party data, all this effort is going to go waste. Because unless you deeply understand what users are doing on your platform, you are able to understand their behavior. It is almost impossible for you to create dynamic pricing. It is impossible for you to understand what kind of additional value can you create for them. It is almost impossible for you to actually handhold them in certain specific deep use cases scenarios like portfolio management, stock recommendations, and other things. So ability to understand users, who they are, what they are doing, and what are their expectations. So we lay a lot of emphasis on PMF surveys, which is perpetual product market fit surveys, which run every day. So on the active user base, there is journey defined where we keep getting user information, user users feedback on our product almost every day. And it gives us constant feedback in terms of even on our content writing pattern. What do we need to write more? What do we need to add more? What is competition doing? So rather than hiring any agency doing some research for us, we get automatic research at our disposal 10 a.m. every day. Around 0.2% people respond. But over a period of time in last 1 year, probably 20% people have responded to us, which is a very good number in terms of understanding what users actually want from us and how do we need to calibrate our offerings. And when we started, we took a lot of guidance from NYT WSJ, where they said, make users consume more content, make them come more often. So their RFM model also, recency, frequency, monetization, and effectively try to do all of this. We, at least in all our products, found a very specific criteria that even in our low engagement buckets, there were fair number of users, not as high, but significant number of users which were unexpected who were still renewing for last 4-5 years. Again, we did focus groups, tried to understand feedback from them, and insights were surprising. See, we might think that charging 3,000 rupees from a user for a digital content per year seems very high. But when we talk to few users who have been renewing with us despite not being very active, the constant feedback has been, see, the value of subscription is all relative. If someone is able to make 1 lakh rupee profit with one right stock recommendation, then the person never thinks back that if effectively every year the person needs to renew. With respect to content consumption, if a person is able to impress the boardroom or is able to guide the team in the right direction after getting some insight, and that yielded significant results, then the value of that subscription, that is a pittance, that is very small amount, which people don't even care for. And again, we are in early stages. We are right now talking about early adopters. India's market is huge, and we strongly believe at a group level, we have not even penetrated even 5% of what we should have penetrated right now. So typically, marketing automation and understanding user cohorts, because what you will realize as soon as someone purchases, what we essentially do, we create different segments. Once a person subscribes to a subscription, we call super fans, people who are extremely addict of our product, people who are super dormant, people who like to share and comment, are super active, and there are 5-6 cohorts like this. It is very important to give them custom nuggets, custom nudges constantly, because everyone has different reason why a person has subscribed. There is not a single reason. For example, there are people who just like to read one good article every weekend. That's the time which they have kept for this subscription. And there are people, for them, reading e-paper at 7 a.m. every day is a part of habit. Unless we understand that, I mean, all our marketing will fail. So we have designed internal systems in such a way that all these user cohorts, after making a payment, they have been given custom messaging to ensure we keep reinforcing the benefits which they are reaping out of this subscription continuously. So 3 mistakes which we made and learned the hard way, I would like to share over here. Again, when we started, we just started monitoring retention as the metric. We used to ask teams, monthly retention, how much? How does it compare with NYT, other global standards? What do we need to do? Instead, it took us 3 years to set up systems, like I just mentioned, in terms of personalizing each person's journey. And in today's age, it's not very difficult. There are off-the-shelf tools available at a relatively much lesser cost to define those journeys. But strong content will take user only to a certain level. And unless user is handholded with the help of right technology and tools, the experience is not going to be delighted. Second part is around general nudges, where we kept sending same nudges to everyone. And then we soon realized that people have different reasons. Some people come for market, some people come for community, some people come just to read comments. And there are certain egoistic people who just do not want any kind of paywalls in their experience. They just want unlimited access. That's their ego booster, even if they're not consuming. So there are different preferences, different reasons why people purchase products. And you have to nudge them accordingly. The third finding was very interesting. So churn, when users churn, so this is a very late scenario, because by that time, a lot of events have happened. Again, this insight came in through our comprehensive data tracking. So we started backtracking. So people who are churning are trying to understand their behavior. And the biggest insight was within first 7 days of purchase, you can predict up to 80% confidence that this person is not going to renew. So rather than waiting for a user to churn or waiting for the user behavior for 12 months to understand how subscription is being used, within first 7 days, you can get 80% assessment whether the person is going to churn or not. And then you have a lot of time to deploy a lot of ammunition in terms of communication, nudges, even if it means calling from our telecall center to ensure that the person stays engaged. Because a lot of times we realize that people just wanted to read an article. They did not even look at what the product has to offer. They just subscribed. Probably they did not like the article and they never came back. And they said 3,000 rupees gone. But essentially ensuring that they are able to discover the platform well and at the same time use it, you need multiple set of nudges. And unless you capture these churn signals, again, this is not something which is very generic. Once you go into different user cohorts, you start realizing that it is a very scientific process, but does not require a lot of expensive resources. It just requires the right set of processes. So we have not invested in expensive technology or expensive resources. We have just deployed right set of processes at each and every week with specific user cohorts to do some things which help us do proactive churn elimination. And I strongly believe, I think in last 2 years, we have come back a strong way and have tried to create a very strong proactive churn prevention model. Now, AI is something which is honestly has started disrupting us, at least at a large scale when content is getting produced. And more importantly, even our subscription products, because what are we offering? Initially, I talked about information advantage. Now, information advantage is being taken over by deep research of ChatGPT, Gemini, and even other tools. Yesterday, ChatGPT 5 was launched, where it is doing your end-to-end task. So why do you do some research? To take better decisions. But ultimately, without doing research, you are able to take a better decision with the help of an AI tool. So we understand this threat, and we also realize that we'll need to coexist with this and essentially embrace AI and figure out what is next for us as a media company. And what we have also started building and started doing small experiments in the last few months, I'll share some demos also with you, is to ensure that we need to disrupt ourselves before someone else comes and disrupts or any new company gets formed and starts disrupting us. So we have started disrupting ourselves in terms of how do we do content research on our own. We have started embedding AI in our market tools, which will be out in next couple of months. We have started embedding better news experiences, which even ChatGPT, Gemini can't deliver by using those tools only in the backend, but curating it for news readers. So those again are 3-4 months away, but in Q3, there are big launches planned in terms of how, as a media house, we are embracing AI to actually help us go faster, go and improve the subscriber experience. Three things which we were not doing earlier, probably where we have started investing, is around building communities where this is something where AI will find it difficult to compete when it comes to people interactions, or even access to right set of decision makers and ask Q&As. And more importantly, creating certain AI agents where you will be able to get a tailored made response, just like you on ChatGPT, but on our platform, you will get a much better one because it is fine-tuned to content which we own. And we have done some POCs, some research. Results are very encouraging, and we are going to launch our products in next couple of months. So I'll also show you some experiments which we have done. Again, we have not invested in technology, not invested in expensive people. Same set of people, what I am going to show you next, have made all those things, not specifically for subscriptions, but whatever we have made gives us very strong confidence that right now we are ahead of the curve and we can move really fast because we have been early adopter of AI. So can you please play the video? Then I'll explain. No, the markets one, the other one. ET markets track. No, next.
इस धरती पर हो चुके सभी युद्ध
The ET markets one.
सबसे विकराल और विध्वंसकारी युद्ध माना जाता है.
Yes. So you can see a typical TV channel here, and you won't believe that everything you see here, whether it is data, we can't hear it. So whether it is data, whether it is the anchor speaking, everything is enabled by AI. The face is trained. She's an internal resource. She's being trained. Her face is being trained on AI. But post that, every day at 4 o'clock, right now we have released it internally. All this data, everything is managed in-house. It took us 2 weeks to build this, in which, anyways, for ET markets, we have direct integration with NSE and BSE feeds. We got all that data, created these beautiful charts, which anyways we do on web. We trained our anchors and tried to stitch everything together with the help of 3 AI tools. It did not require any rocket science. We were ourselves surprised because when we started the project, we thought it's going to be a 3-month POC. Within 2 weeks, we were ready with this. So we were surprised in terms of how things are changing, and this was 2 months away. And now what we can see is possible. We believe we can create a much better version of this. I'm sorry you're not able to hear the sound. Is it possible for you to play the sound or not happening? It's okay. Let's go to the next video. So all these, if you see expressions, for example, if you see the anchor is not moving the hands. Right now, that is possible. The anchor is not pointing. So even that is possible right now. So this was made 2 months back when all those capability issues were there. Right now, everything is possible, in which you are able to train the anchor in multiple formats in terms of how it resonates more with your brand. Go to the next one, which is a video song. Yes. Now this video song again took us a week. All these characters are imaginary, made by AI. Possible to have sound or no?
खामोश रातों में तेरी यादें आई, हर खामोशी तेरा नाम दोहराए। खामोश रातों में तेरी यादें आई, हर खामोशी तेरा नाम दोहराए। धड़कनों में बस गया है तेरा साया।
Impossible. So the intent here is that, again, this was made couple of months back. You started with the raw script. Again, with suno.com, you can create a script. So this was made by technology and product folks. No creative person was involved in the entire production. Took 7 days. Started with, again, AI tools in terms of building some kind of a lyrics, putting it in avatars, and then using Runway and couple of other tools to build this kind of a video. Now, the possibilities are immense when we talk about this, because once we build these capabilities, when we talk about subscriptions or transactions, because right now it is for free users, but essentially going forward, it opens up immense amount of possibilities for us as a brand to create value which is behind paywall. Especially what we are unlocking in stock markets right now and mutual funds right now, because that was unimaginable before. Can we play the last video for 15 seconds at best? The Mahabharat one. This is the faceless video.
इस धरती पर हो चुके सभी युद्धों में सबसे विकराल और विध्वंसकारी युद्ध माना जाता है। यह केवल राजगद्दी के लिए नहीं था, बल्कि यह धर्म और अधर्म, न्याय और अन्याय, सत्य और छल के बीच का सबसे बड़ा संघर्ष था। यह वह युग था जब रिश्तों की मर्यादा टूट।
So again, this gives us a lot of capabilities to convert a basic concept into a faceless video. And now the mandate given to editorial and creative team is that whatever we are writing, whatever ideas are there in the mind, can we put it behind faceless videos? And it comes at an insignificant cost at this point in time. So these are the capabilities which are giving us confidence that before AI disrupts us, we need to disrupt ourselves, reinvent ourselves, and move really, really fast. And just to summarize, broadly 3 pillars. Life is not very complicated. Think of a strong value creation and ensure that your retention engine takes good care of people who pay you, and keep reinventing with the help of AI. That's it from my side. Thank you.